yarns. It's been in the collection for a long time, and it continues to be one of their most popular yarns. I know that I carry every single color in the shop, and there are probably 50 of them. So that's a big part of what's in all of those boxes at the back of the shop. So every single color of felted tweed. And you think, oh my goodness, well, how could they possibly do anything new and different with felted tweed? But they absolutely did this season. They have put out, as I said, Felted Tweed Color, which is absolutely stunning. And I'm not sure what you're expecting or if you already know about it. If you do, go ahead and tell me in the chat what you know or what you've heard or what you're hoping to see. Hey, Ellen, how are you? So I have all the yarn here. I pulled 2 skeins of each of the 8 colors. So in the shop, when I put this out on the table, Ginny and I were just amazed at how hard it was to kind of separate the colors, because it's so subtle and so elegant. You know, the colors just sort of seem to flow together in a beautiful palette, which is challenging to get it on the shelf and tagged correctly. But from the standpoint of using the yarn, it's just a wonderful opportunity to play with lots of colors and kind of get a sense and sort of dip your toe into kind of mixing colors with a palette already established for you. Last week, we talked about Cape Facet, right? And Cape Facet designs with felted tweed an awful lot because it's nice and light, and it does come in this huge color range. So there are a lot of opportunities for, for mixing colors. And after we had that podcast, a lot of people commented on the blog that they love Cape's work, but they're terrified to attempt it or to choose the colors. And I think that's, for a lot of people, one of the biggest fears is how to choose the colors in a way that they're going to do that kind of blending that Cape is so famous for. So I think that the Felted Tweed Colors is kind of a response to that. It's a response to, I don't know how to choose colors that are going to go together. And it's also a response to, I don't necessarily want to buy 10 colors to get that incredible gradient effect. Do you know what I mean? So with the Felted Tweed Color, you have yarns that go through this gradual color shift, and they're so beautiful. Anyway, I can't wait to show them to you. I spent a bunch of time today swatching them up, so I'll share that with you as well. So let's talk about the colors, okay? Let's see. Yes. I think they did a really nice job too. You may not have, did you get the Felted Tweed Color book? You're in Great Britain, aren't you, Valerie? So yeah, so you're going to be getting them before they're here. My rep assures me that they are shipping as we speak. So yay, and that's good. And I'll walk you through tonight all of the designs that are in that book. But they are all also available individually on Ravelry. So good to know that. Hey, Jal, nice to see you. Okay, I know you're dying to see the colors, and I'm dying to show them to you. Okay, so this is in no particular order. This is just the order that they're coming out of my big basket of yarns. So this first one is called Amethyst. And you can see that this is sort of aqua to purple, very subtle, little bit of green in there. I personally would not have called this amethyst. I would have called this alexandrite. If you've ever seen an alexandrite, this is exactly what it looks like. So beautiful shift in colors. So if you were to see these 2 skeins on the shelf, you would probably think, oh, they're not the same, but yep, they are. And if you saw all of the skeins, you would see how the colors change. So that's amethyst. So for you blue-green, sea glass loving kind of knitters, that is the color for you. This is a color called Frost. This is really pretty. So this is a lilac, kind of hyacinth blue, purpley pink, more of a pale tone. So super pretty these colors are, I think. Really, really nice. So that is Frost. Hey, Terry. Okay, and so this one, I want to show you this just to kind of show you how similar some of them are. This is called Magenta. So this is blue and kind of purpley. Let me see those. And all the colors are in there. It's just sort of hard to tell. But that's Magenta. And then let's look at that next to Frost. So you see they're really close in real life. I know the lights and the camera kind of skew this a little bit, but in real life, Magenta is slightly more red and slightly darker than the Frost. So this is definitely more your, the Frost is more your pastel tone. So really pretty. Okie dokie. This one, okay, so this one is called Ripe. And I want to show you this first. So this is Ripe. I have both skeins of it. But if you were to hold the Ripe next to the Magenta, so you see that same sort of pinkish red tone in both of these, that's what I'm talking about, the colors sort of blending and moving easily one to the next. But Ripe has a little more of that sort of orangey. So when you look at this, I mean, you're thinking, you know, summer berries. You know, there's definitely a berry component in that, but also kind of a autumnal tone. I think this is a gorgeous fiber colorway for those of you or those of us who love the cool colors, but like something that has a little bit of that autumnal feel. So I think that's a really, really elegant color. And if you wanted to mix it with this, you could easily get away with that. Do you see how those would kind of go nicely together? What am I trying to do? Oh, I'm trying to put those together. There we go. So I think that's really pretty. And that's called Ripe. I love their names. They're such fun and fanciful names. Hey, Amelia. Hey, Risa. Oh, my goodness. I have to say, Norma, yes, I was talking to you when I said that about the sea glass. I knew that that would appeal to you. Yep. Aren't they pretty? Oh, my goodness. I just love them so much. And if you are local in the shop, you can stop by and you can see the display on the table. I think it looks really pretty. Okay, so this is called Succulent, which is such a great word. So this has your beautiful, come on camera, your beautiful turquoise, and then it goes to this kind of a warm green. So really pretty. And from a matching standpoint, if you wanted to take and put that with this sea glass colorway, you could make your own kind of, you could spread that gradient out because that turquoise runs through both of them. This is just beautiful. If you like greens and blues, this is definitely the one for you. This is called Succulent. Okay, and while we are on green, if you are like dead on green lover, I think you will love this one. This one is called chartreuse, or as the French say, chartreuse. Has anybody ever had chartreuse or chartreuse? We have some in the refrigerator. My daughter got addicted to it while she was on at foreign exchange in France. So look at how pretty this is. This is exactly the color of chartreuse. So very pretty, kind of a bright and a warm green, and some of that ochre in there, that golden ochre. I think that is so pretty. Yeah, I like that. And again, this would flow very nicely into the succulent. So that's kind of a little palette going on right there. And I have two more colors to show you. Okay, this one is super, super subtle. This is called Blush. And you would think this would be my favorite color, wouldn't you? So this is kind of a soft, really pale pink and peach. I think it's really aptly named because these are the colors that you would find like in a cosmetic, in a blush. Isn't that pretty? So beautiful and subtle, and you can see that the colors shift. The value of those colors is very, very similar. And yeah, so that's Blush. And then this one, what are you called, my dear? Oh, this is called Ripe again. Do I have all of this? 2, 1, 2, 3. I think I showed you all of them. Am I missing one? Oh my goodness. I have another one of Ripe. Oh, stars. I hope I didn't bring all of the same ones. Oh, there's a brown one that I'm missing. Oh my goodness. I apologize to you guys. There is a kind of a brownish one, and I did not bring that from the shop today, so I apologize. But there is a really pretty one that's kind of brownish, and it probably shows up in some of the garments that are designed for it. But if you haven't worked with felted, Danette, yes, thank you, Danette. Chestnut, it is called Chestnut, and it is kind of brown, and it would be a nice transition with this one called Blush. So yeah, it is kind of brownish, and my most humble and abject apologies for mixing that up. I thought I had all of them, but I should have just taken them from the table instead of trying to grab them from the boxes. Oh well, that's how that goes. So felted tweed, as you may or may not know, is classified as like a DK sport weight yarn. It is one of the few yarns that we carry in the shop that is a woolen spun yarn. So it has a very different feel from some of the others that are worsted spun. What that means is the way it's prepared, the fibers are going in all kinds of different directions. So it's very, very light, incredibly lightweight. And so you've got 50 grams here, but you've got like 190 yards. Let me just double check that garbage. Yeah, 191 yards. And the ball band is going to tell you 22 to 24 stitches over 4 inches. So that puts that solidly right there in the DK sport weight range. So, you know, I had to swatch it just to see what I thought. And I did. And let me tell you, you know, I haven't knit with felted tweed for a while. I didn't make a garment in it last season, but oh my gosh, do I love to knit with this yarn. As I said, it is so lovely and light. It's really soft. It has a very different kind of hand. It's not hugely elastic, but it has a little bit of bounce. It's a 2-ply yarn, and it has just these wonderful kind of colors with it. I want to show you my swatch, see if I can't get this up close in the camera for you. You see the different colors that come in that tweed. So I started here with a US 4, and then I went up to a 5 and a 6. So here we go. Whoops, with a 4 at the bottom, and then a 5, and then a 6, and then a 7, and it went all the way up to a US 8. And you would think that it would be way too loose on a US 8. And in the knitting of it, it was much looser, okay? But honestly, after you block this, woolen spun yarns respond very differently to blocking than worsted spun yarns do. So I won't go into all of the details, but they bloom to a larger degree than a worsted spun yarn is going to bloom. So what that means is that, and I did a steam block for this, when you block it, that application of water, it allows the fibers to open up and kind of relax from the tension that they're held under during the spinning process. So even though I knit them on increasingly larger needles, even this size 8, you know, it's definitely a wearable fabric. You would not be arrested if you wore a sweater at that gauge. You know, I like it probably a little better in this range. This is on a 6, this is on a 7, this is about 22, this is about just over 20, and the 8 is about 19, all right? I did it on a 4 just to show you that it can be done. So it's an incredibly versatile yarn in terms of, you know, what gauge you can use it for. So that's one of the reasons I think that it's so popular with the designers, is that whatever you want to do with it, it's happy to do that. And just as an aside, you can also carry it with a strand of Kid Silk Haze on a size 8 or 9 or larger and get an amazing fabric. Okay, so let's see. Yes, of course I swatched the pink. Well, to tell you the truth, Norma, they sent me a ball in my retailer kit, and that's the color that they sent me. But I probably would have picked that color anyway. You're right. You caught me. Yes, the 8 would definitely, yeah, at that gauge, I mean, you could definitely, even if you knit it at a 7, you can open it up to that gauge and have a lovely, lovely drape. There's a beautiful pattern. It's just the simplest pattern in the whole wide world. It's really nothing but a great big rectangle that's seamed. The Easy Folded Poncho by Church Mouse Fibers. We have made that, you know, dozens of times, and I think it's knit on like a 7 at 20 stitches, and it just does have a really beautiful drape, and the feel of it on your body is just absolutely nothingness. Okay, let's see. Is that all the same ball on the swatch? Yes. So this is all the same ball, and this is kind of what I would like to point out to you about the Felted Tweed color, is that this is how the gradient goes. This is very, very, very subtle. You know, as I'm knitting it, I'm thinking, wow, this isn't changing at all. It's not until you kind of step back and you're like, oh, yeah, I guess that did change. So the rate of change of the fibers is very slow, so the effect is extremely subtle. Another thing that makes it so subtle is that the value of the colors within a ball are very close. So probably the most different in terms of colors is like this blue and green in the sea glass. Do you see how you have a very different color, this purpley blue and the green, clearly not the same color at all. But if you were to take a black and white photo of that, they'd be really close. Do you know what I mean? So the value of the colors is really close. So the shift from one to the next is more subtle. You don't notice it. You would notice it much more strongly if this were like a pale blue and a deep green, or if this deep blue were mixed with this paler blue. Do you see? You would notice that more, and it would be a little more jarring. Whereas this is just so incredibly subtle, and I think the palette that they've picked for each color range is absolutely lovely. So I am interested. Some of you have shared with me your favorites. Go ahead and tell me in the comments which one you like best. Let's see. Yeah, isn't that beautiful in the blue and the green? It's like sea glass, or I don't know, just all the things. There's really not a bad one in the bunch. I would have to say that, you know, for me, as a wearability thing, this is probably not my color, but I do love it. I think it's so fresh looking, and I would love to see it like on someone. I think that would be just stunning. So real quick, I want to share with you some of the designs from the collection. Nice to know that since this is exactly the same yarn, but with different colors, you can use Felted Tweed colors in absolutely any design that calls for felted tweed, and just that's how you, you know, step it up a little bit. So let's see. Zosha likes the amethyst. Chartreuse, but yes, of course, the chestnut. I'm so sorry. Jana, succulents, yeah. Oh, I really do. I think they're all just lovely. This pink one with the purple, oh my God, it really is calling to me. Surprising, I know, right? Okay, let me share this with you. Okay, so this is Abby, and this is just, you know, a real wardrobe piece, basic cardigan, but you can see that they've used the felted tweed color, but they've alternated stripes up here. They haven't just let the thing do its own. They've actually worked it in a bit of a stripe pattern here to highlight the gradient effect. So I think that's interesting, and that's kind of like what you get when you do a Cape Facet kind of thing, but they've made it much easier for you. So very pretty, super wardrobe basic, right? You could knit that in every color and be super happy. All right, this one, the Forever Sweater. So Amy and Amy in the shop both bought yarn for this. This is a gorgeous, again, a wardrobe basic. So a V-neck worked in the this colorway. What colorway is that with the gray? Let's see. I think that might be blush. Yeah, so I think that's the blush colorway. And you can see how they, again, have worked those stripes. So this is simple. They're just going down and back with one ball and down and back with a different ball. So every 2 rows, they change colors, and that gives this this striped effect. And I think it's so effective. It's the simplest thing, but it makes it gives it such an additional dimension, don't you think? Yeah, I think that's stunning. Again, if you are not into the stripes or the gradient, you could easily do this in a solid color felted tweed, and it would be spectacular. Just so you know, I find felted tweed perfectly comfortable to wear right next to my skin. They show this as a layering piece with a blouse underneath it, but I think honestly you could do it in both ways. And note the length on this, because I'm going to show you something at the end. All right, what do we got? Okay, this is Mist. This is a design by Kim Hargreaves. Very very modern. It's worked in seed stitch. So since it's in seed stitch, it doesn't need any kind of trim. So you have this beautiful clean edge here, a little bit asymmetrical. And she has chosen not to do any kind of striping with the gradient, but just to let the gradient speak for itself. So I think that's really lovely. And this is that amethyst color. Again, they should have called that sea glass, or what did I say? Alexandrite. Isn't that pretty? But seed stitch. So that's going to have a little more structure and be very nice to wear. Wouldn't that be pretty with a great big button that sort of picked up on the color? Something infused glass, maybe. Okay, for you accessory knitters, this is a beautiful scarf. And I think this is by Lisa Richardson. And this is stranded, of course, with 2 colors of the felted tweed color. So, so pretty. You could do this with the 2 colors. You could do this with 1 color of felted tweed color and 1 color of felted tweed solid. Would be absolutely beautiful. But this would not be boring to knit at all, would it? This would be very exciting and fun. So, yes, that would be super fun to knit, wouldn't it? Okay, so that's the jade scarf. This is Corinthian, and I think this is so pretty. A much larger, you know, a generous wrap. And this is a reworking of a pattern that by the same name, I believe, that they did in felted tweed, just the regular felted tweed, and they did a bit of an illusion effect. So very, very cool with that version. I think you can see it a little bit right here. So if you've done any illusion knitting, it's where they alternate garter with stockinette to form a pattern, the stitch in the stitches, if you look at it a certain way. So I think that would be fun to knit and beautiful to wear. This is Ingleton, and this is an example of just the most simple use of the yarn, and that just letting the yarn do what it does and kind of get out of the way. So, you know, if you like simple knits as I do, this would be a great mindful, kind of really restful, just all kind of, it's expanded garter stitch. So here it is in the Felted Tweed color, and that is in blush. And then here it is just in a solid color of Felted Tweed. That's called Ingleton. Isn't that pretty? Yes, Danette, you're absolutely right. They are absolutely reworked from that. You got it. You know that they are. Diane made the original Corinthian. So yeah, did you enjoy doing that with the illusion stitch? Have you ever done any other illusion? I always thought that looked like a fun thing to do. I've never really played with it myself, but I've always been tempted. I'm just not an accessory knitter. You know, I have to force myself to make accessories instead of sweaters. All right, and this is Phoenix. This is a stranded color work. And that looks like it's worked in Succulent and blush, or maybe several of the colors. Yeah, I think that must be several of the colors worked together, because you can see how this Succulent or the chartreuse goes through it, and then the other colors kind of fill in. So that's pretty. If you enjoy color work, that would be one that you might enjoy. All right, let's see what else. Okay, so this is Forever. This is that same sweater. Remember I asked you to note the length. So I wanted to point out that, as Danette noted, this is absolutely the original version of that sweater that they reworked in the Felted Tweed colors. But what I love about this pattern is, check it out. You've got a V-neck, you've got a crew neck, you've got a longer length, you've got a cropped length, you've got different length of sleeves. So this pattern is something that you could rework and change the colors and just, you know, have a whole bunch of difference. It's kind of one of those basic patterns, like you have a basic salad recipe, you know, you jazz it up with whatever kind of greens or nuts or fruit or whatever that you have on hand. This is like that, and whether you want it cropped and oversized or V-neck or, you know, long, I love it. I think this is just great. So that's my kind of sweater. Yeah, Diane. Making shawls, but do not wear them. Why do you suppose that is, people? Why do we make shawls and not wear them? But I bet you make sweaters, and I bet you wear those. So what's that about? All right, so this is, as I said earlier, that because they're the same yarn, basically, you can use the Felted Tweed color for any of the designs that are in just plain Felted Tweed. And I wanted to share this with you. I think this is a really pretty design, just a, you know, belted cardigan called Maud in the Felted Tweed. But wouldn't that be fun and pretty in the Felted Tweed color? You could absolutely jazz it up by just by adding the gradient. I think that would be so nice. So here, yes, Diane. Yes, sweaters we wear. Accessories we knit and sweaters we wear. All right, what does Deborah say? Good. Yeah, shawl pins help you wear. Well, that's great. We all need a wardrobe of shawl pins to help us style our shawls. I think a lot of times, maybe we don't wear, I wonder if maybe we don't wear our shawls because, you know, when we put our shawls on, and maybe I'll do a podcast on this, Ellen Orr was asking me about it, we're so anxious about kind of displaying the shawl to showcase our work on it, that wearing them feels awkward, when we ought to just sort of put them on and not worry too much about, you know, showcasing the shawl itself, but just sort of wearing it like it's just clothes. And I don't know, that maybe that we would wear them more if we did that. Anyway, back to this. Okay, so that's Maud, and I think that would be really pretty. And this is Pearl, and this is super interesting for me because one, I love a turtleneck, and two, if you are not about knitting a sweater at, you know, 22 or 24 stitches over 4 inches, this is your sweater because this has 2 strands of felted tweed held together. So that's what gives it this marled effect. And wouldn't that be fun to do with a felted tweed color? How those colors would interact as they went up, you know, the 2 different colorways. I think that would be so interesting. This, as I said, is 2 strands of felted tweed color, and it's worked at a gauge of 16 stitches over 4 inches. So tell me if you like that one. So those are the designs that I wanted to share with you today. But as I said, since felted tweed has been in the line, in the range for forever, there are literally a gazillion designs for felted tweed, and any of them you could swap in the felted tweed color and make something that you might otherwise think of as a boring knit a little jazzier just by upping the color game. So let's see, I have some comments here. Jana, well, good, Jana, you are wonderful. Do you have any trouble styling your shawls, or are you just, you know, tu es belle et sans aucun effort, right? You're beautiful and you don't even try, right? Yeah, I think, yeah, Diane, I think that's really part of it is, you know, some of us want to really showcase our work, and we knit things and we wear things that we know are going to get attention. And then other times we don't want that attention. So we don't wear things, and hand knits that are spectacular a lot of times really do draw a lot of attention, and you might not be in the mood for that. I get it. That's an interesting idea. I would love to hear your thoughts on that, gang. Oh, Amelia, yeah. So Amelia's transitioning from a career as a military officer to a career in a civilian role, and she gets to get dressed all by herself every day now. How fun is that? Yeah, you'll get tired of it soon enough, I think. Unfair of me. Oh my goodness. So tell me what you think. I'm just about done here, but if you want to see this swatch, I have this at the shop, and I'll probably post some pictures on the blog. I'll do a blog post on this and get you. I took some nice photos, but yeah, I'd like to be able to share this with you, you know, really close up because it's so, so pretty. And honestly, it's so light. And I will tell you that I barely used half a ball on this. So it really goes a long way. And I just can't really say enough nice things about felted tweed, and especially felted tweed color. So I'm super excited about it. And I think I'm going to knit myself a sweater out of it this season. How about you? Let's see. Yes, lots of thinking involved in getting dressed. Okay, so let's all think what we're going to make in felted tweed, and let me know how I can help you. This should be available on the website. I think it is now. If not, it will be soon. So until next time, happy knitting. Thanks so much and have a great evening.